RingCentral's AI receptionist uses voice AI to answer on the first ring, so you'll never miss a call again. In just a few minutes, you can personalize your own AI receptionist to answer questions, route calls, schedule appointments, and even send texts in multiple languages. Plus, it's easy to scale. Create unlimited AI receptionists across any phone system. It's all powered by one reliable platform for effortless AI communications. See for yourself at ringcentral.com. RingCentral, voice of your business.
Welcome to the Dogs Podcast with your hosts, Blake Reneker, Justin Charles, and Josh All.
Hey, what's up, Browns fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Happy Tuesday. This week coming to you guys, Josh All here, your host. And I don't know how everything's going with you guys, but I know we've got a sick kid in the house. And somehow, this is what happens when you have little kids, I suppose, and they don't go to school every day of the week. Found out late last night, oh, this is spring break. I didn't even realize this was spring break week for our kid and for our oldest. So, kids in the house, sick. It's going to be that kind of week. But still hitting you guys with an episode here early. I recorded a podcast segment with Angel Ortiz from the Typical Browns Fan podcast and from the Bearded Browns podcast over the weekend. And the conversation is something I think we really need to be talking about, especially since a lot of the draft debate right now is over whether or not the Browns should go with an offensive lineman or a wide receiver. And the conversation I had with Angel was all about a specific wide receiver going into his fourth season with the Browns. Hasn't done a whole hell of a lot for the team so far on his rookie deal. And what do we do with Cedric Tillman if the Browns draft two wide receivers in April, which, hey, that's tomorrow. So happy early April Fools as well, you guys. All right, so let's dive into this conversation with Angel. And afterward, I've got 3 voicemails to get to. So we'll play those as well. Make sure you guys go to jointhedogs.com if you want to be part of the Dog Pack Discord community and hang out with everybody from across the world that's in that community. And it's a great way also to support the show over there on our Patreon page. I guess before I kick it over to Angel's conversation, I should probably mention a couple things, hit on a couple notes from this owners meeting. First of all, and again, I don't have any notes or quotes or anything pulled up here. I'm just kind of going off memory from what I was reading yesterday and Sunday. So first of all, the Browns rule change proposal to allow teams to trade draft picks up to 5 years out rather than 3. Currently, you can only trade picks up to 3 years out. The Browns wanted to change that to 5 years out. That has been withdrawn. So I think they knew that wasn't going to get passed this year, and they withdrew it. But from what I understand, it's kind of one of those things where they just wanted to get people talking. So they want teams to be considering this, even though there really wasn't a chance. Sean McVay he was on Up and Adams with Kay Adams, said, not a shot in hell this thing passes, 0% chance. And of course it didn't. But now it's on the table. Even if it's not actually on the table for them to vote on this year, the concept, the idea, the seed has been planted in all of these teams, all these GMs, all these owners' minds that, well, how could we structure trade deals with other teams if we could utilize assets 5 years in the future? Again, no team is trading 5 first-round picks, and there's probably going to be some sort of guardrail built in if this thing does pass in the future, some variation of it that would prevent that from happening. But again, it'd be easier to trade 3 first round, or for a team to trade 3 first round picks for, say, a guy like Myles Garrett, if 2 of those first round picks weren't coming right up. Maybe it was 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. I think you could get teams to engage in more serious conversations with draft capital if that were an option for them. Just my thoughts on that. The other comments that came out of this, first of all, Todd Monken missed the coach's photo. Of course, the one coach that misses the annual coach's photo at the owners meeting is the Browns coach. It's just this team, guys. I tell you what, it's going to be a fun year. Telling you guys what. because of these comments especially. So Andrew Berry was asked some interview questions and things. And these went around social media and the video clips and all that. I'm sure you guys saw them, read the quotes. I've been posting them. And one thing was about, obviously, first of all, he said that Myles Garrett is a career Brown. He doesn't want to waste any more time talking about the trade speculation. So Mary Kay and the reporters that get their marching orders. I'm not saying this like to spite them or to be mean to Mary Kay and these Browns beat reporters, but the Browns use them for their leaks. They want it out there that they are not trading Myles Garrett, so that's what she's writing about, and she's posting everything saying Andrew Berry said the Browns are not trading Myles Garrett, even though he actually didn't say that. He never said we're not trading Myles Garrett. So I mean, it's whatever. I mean, it's semantics at that point, maybe, but a quote is a quote unless it actually wasn't said. Anyway, so moving on from the whole Myles Garrett thing, because if that happens, it won't happen until after June 1st. So that would be an over the summer training camp. Well, not even training camp. That would be that break in between the mandatory OTAs and all that stuff in June. And then you got that long, I'm not looking forward to that long stretch where basically nothing happens between the middle of June and about the end of July. Excuse me, I got a frog in my throat here today. So that would be the stretch in which a trade like that would take place, in my opinion, if it happens. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying it should happen. I'm just saying if you're looking for that sort of news or when that might come, if it does, that would be when I would expect it to happen, would be after June 1st, in that break, that window between the end of the spring program and the beginning of actual training camp. Okay, so that's the Myles Garrett stuff. Enough of that. I'm trying to think which one I want to go to next. Shedeur Sanders changed his number. By the way, for everybody out there like me who bought a 12 jersey last year, it's now going to be number 2. He's going back to his college number, his brand identity is built around S2. Number 2, he is going to be number 2. So number 2 for Shedeur Sanders this year, and number 4 for Deshaun Watson, apparently. I don't really know what's going on with everything. Last year at the owners' meeting, it was a big deal, right? Because it was the first time since the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson and signed him to that huge, ridiculous contract, and he completely sharted the bed in Cleveland. It was the first time that anybody within the organization came out and actually addressed the failure that was the trade. And Jimmy Haslam said, yep, Deshaun Watson was a swing and a miss. Okay, we were all like, thank you, fine a freaking Lee. Somebody came out and said it. Like, you know, like we're not stupid. We're sitting here, we're watching the games. We see the guy play and we're saying, okay, well, you guys went for it. You guys swung. But you missed. So let's just acknowledge that it didn't work. And he did. Jimmy came out last year at the owners' meeting the same time a year ago and said, Deshaun Watson was a swing and miss. Okay. Appreciate the honesty and the candidness and all that from Jimmy Haslam. Let's see. This year, the owners' meeting, 1 year later, Jimmy Haslam says he believes Deshaun Watson could go from a swing and miss to a home run if he starts in 2026. A swing and a miss to a home run? What are we doing? I don't know, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. It sort of feels like the press has been out heavily talking about, Deshaun Watson's a front runner for this starting quarterback job. It's Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Deshaun Watson has the leg up. He's got the 60% chance, the odds, blah, 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 all this crap. And now you got the owner coming out and saying that, yeah, Deshaun Watson could be a home run if he starts this year. Okay. Now, it could be a whole bunch of nothing. Once they get to camp and everything, I think Shedeur Sanders will show that he's the better quarterback. I don't know what you guys think, but I've seen Shedeur Sanders play better quarterback with much less talent around him more recently than I've seen Deshaun Watson. The last time we saw Watson was in 2024, and he was terrible. He was awful. It was painful to watch. He hasn't played a full season since 2020. I forget how many days that's been, but it's been, 6 years since he's played a full season? And that was back before he had the major shoulder injury, surgery, and 2 Achilles tears that he had to repair. I find it very unlikely that now, 6 years older, 3 major surgeries after, and also not having played a full season in those 6 years, what makes anybody think it's magically just going to happen now? And not only magically going to play a full season, but actually play good. I don't know, guys. I was obviously very on board with the move back when they did it in 2022 because I thought we needed that difference maker at quarterback. And at the time, he was. He was. The last time he played football before we made that trade, he was a superstar. He was a Pro Bowler. He was a top 5 quarterback in the league. All those things that we talked about for years were true. I mean, that's who he was. That's what he was. But he's gone full Tiger Woods on us. And unfortunately, we're now the victims of that. He had off the field issues. It impacted his mind and his focus, his concentration, his confidence, whatever. Mentally, he just can't do it. And now physically, he has not been able to do it. So if you can't do it physically and you can't do it mentally, neither one of those things are working for you, you're done. You're toast. Your career is shot. So I just don't understand this push unless it's all geared toward a mind game on Shedeur Sanders, trying to get him to be as competitive as possible to get the most out of him. Maybe that's their angle. I have no idea. But either way, this is what's being said, so we're just going to mention it here. Let me know what you guys think. How would you feel, I guess? This is where I really want to know what you guys think. How would you feel if the Browns made that announcement in August? Deshaun Watson's going to be our starter week 1. Especially you season ticket holders, let me know how that's going to go. Okay, let me kick this thing over to my conversation with Angel Ortiz. It's very, very interesting. Everything that, first of all, he was, and I say this in the conversation, but I might as well tell you guys up front here. He had messaged me last week, just random question. We talk back and forth sometimes about Brown stuff, just spitballing, bouncing ideas off each other. And he said, say the Browns draft 2 receivers somewhat high, like first 3, maybe first 4 picks, whatever. Depends on who they are, but say that's the direction the Browns go. He said, 4th year, last year of his rookie deal, what do you do with Cedric Tillman? That's what we're going to talk about. So let's kick it over to Angel Ortiz. All right, guys, like I mentioned, I got Angel Ortiz with me here on the podcast. Really excited to talk with Angel about the Browns and some of the stuff that's going on right now here in the offseason leading up to the draft. Free agency sort of slowing down. I feel like the first couple waves of free agency is over and there's not a whole lot going on right now. But like I said, host of the Typical Browns Fan podcast and co-host of the Bearded Browns podcast. Did I get both of those right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a lot of words running off the tip of my brain there. I'm like, oh crap, did I have these right? Okay, I do. So yeah, make sure you guys go over and give Angel a follow. Check out his podcast. He does great work, and I'm really excited to have him on here. So Saturday afternoon, Angel, how you doing today?
Good. Enjoying some sunshine. We had some tornado warnings last night or the night before. I don't know whether there's been a mix here in Ohio. You get meteor showers here and there too.
Apparently.
Supposedly. Yeah. But I mean, good, the whole kid thing, man. You're a dad. You're always in kid mode with your wife. You guys are just switching tag team. It's like WWE. Hey, it's your turn. I got to go to the bathroom. It's your turn. I got to go to the grocery store. Doing that while maintaining the Bearded Browns and something, my personal thing, which is Typical Browns Fan podcast. You're trying to juggle it all and be consistent. It's hard, but it's enjoyable. It's enjoyable for sure.
Absolutely. Such is the life of a content creator, which, speaking of content, we're at that point in the offseason here where we're doing a lot of draft talk. And that's because that's what's coming up. We're less than 4 weeks away from the draft. And that's a big deal for the Browns. It's kind of our Super Bowl every year when we don't have a good team on the field during the season, which has been the last few years in a row now. And free agency is over. And we're not big buyers in free agency anyway right now. We don't have we have cap space. We have cash to spend, but not to the point where we're going to go out and overpay for big guys like Tyler Linderbaum. Browns aren't giving him $27, $28 million a year. So that kind of takes those players off of the table for the Browns. But you had messaged me the other day talking about draft strategy for the Browns in the first round as it related to a specific position and a specific player at that position, which we're going to dive into here. And I thought it was a great topic. So I said, let's just jump on a pod. Let's have this conversation. And you said kind of what I have been, honestly, on our show, we've been talking about this since the season. We have 2 first-round picks. Take 2 receivers in the first round. Why not? Why not? Our wide receiver core is terrible. And you had messaged me and said, if they do that, what do you do with Cedric Tillman? And Cedric Tillman is a guy, when the Browns took him in the 3rd round back in 2023, I was excited. I thought he was a good prospect coming out of Tennessee. He was one of the only prototypical sized X receivers coming out in that draft class. It was, if you remember, 2023 was a lot of slot guys, a lot of smaller 5'9", 5'10", 5'11" guys. And then you had like a couple big body dudes, and one of them was Ced Till. And, we got him in the 3rd round. I was like, okay, this is exciting. And it just never materialized into anything. 3 seasons, and I was kind of going through his stats, which I can dive into here real quick, but briefly, just the surface level stats. He's never had a season over 50 targets. His high was 45 in 2024. He's never had a season over 30 receptions. His high was 29 in 2024.
Yeah.
And he's never had a season over 350 yards. His high is 3 touchdowns. I mean, it's been a complete and utter disappointment for Cedric Tillman. So I guess, what are your thoughts on Cedric Tillman before we kind of talk about the strategy and which receivers you would like to see the Browns, if they did go to wide receiver? But talk to me about Ced. Yeah,
I feel Cedric Tillman has been for me, like a disappointment each year. We go into our podcast on the Bearded Browns every year saying, we do have Cedric Tillman. Maybe, just maybe, this is his year. Maybe this is his year. Every year, it seems like for the last 3 years, we're like, you have his rookie year. Hey, there's hope. That X prototype receiver that's big, 213, 6 foot. He's big body. He's got a good range. And he's hurt, right? And then the next year, you're like, well, he was hurt, but we're going to excuse that. And then he comes in year number 2, shows some promise, and copy and paste the first year. And the 3rd year, last year, copy and paste the first 2 years. So for me, it's like, eventually, as a Browns fan, I know I was telling you this in the beginning, like pre-show talk, like Browns fans always hang on hope. And I'm at the point of my age and my Browns fandom where I'm tired of hope. I'm not hoping anymore for Cedric Tillman to come in and be this big body receiver that I saw that can potentially be. I'm ready to replace him with somebody, preferably in this draft, because I feel, just like you said, he has not done not much anything. He's played 13 games, right? He's averaging about 13 games a year, which is not good, in my opinion. 12 yards receptions, 2 touchdowns, 200. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's bad. And, you said kind of done living on hope with Cedric Tillman. And honestly, a lot of the guys currently on the team, I'm kind of the same way with Michael Hall Jr. on the defensive side of the ball. I'm done with hope. I need results. I was talking about the defensive tackle because they bring up Michael Hall Jr. I said, guys, I wouldn't bank on Michael Hall Jr. I would say you might need a defensive tackle in this draft. And they're like, oh, Michael Hall, I'm like, he's been hurt, or he seems to have some character issues. This team seems to have been kept quiet. No one's talking about, but that's a different topic. But go ahead. Yeah, well, yeah, not to get off topic with Mike Hall, but the production on the field hasn't been there even when he is healthy. Yeah. And that's the same for Cedric Tillman. So even when he's on the field, there was a 3-game stretch, maybe 3.5 in 2024, where it looked like, here it is, here's the Cedric Tillman breakout. And then it was the Steelers when he got the concussion? Yeah, Steelers. Lost the rest of the season. It's like, okay. And that was, I'm not talking like he missed the next 2 games. He missed the next, 7 games? Yeah. With a concussion? Like, dear Lord, dude. Last year, again, just 13 games. Like, you're not available. And when you are on the field, you're not doing anything. Yeah, I mean, he's 5 touchdowns in 3 years. I mean, for an X receiver that you hope to even be a high number 2, that's not good, man. It's just not. This episode is sponsored by Surfshark VPN. Browns fans, do you ever feel like the internet is watching your every move?
Yeah, that's because it is. Your browser is able to watch and store your digital activity, but you can put an end to that using today's sponsor, Surfshark VPN. A VPN is a virtual private network which allows you to mask your real IP address, essentially meaning that your online activity is no longer being tracked. You ever wondered just how much of your personal information is floating around online? Every click, every scroll, every late night mock draft that you do, all your data can be logged, tracked, and sold. With Surfshark, all that data stays with you. When I'm connected, Surfshark encrypts everything I do online, so even my internet provider or nosy advertisers, they can't see what I'm doing. And Surfshark doesn't keep logs, like at all. That means even if someone wanted to see what I've been up to online, there's literally nothing to show them. Now, some VPNs do keep records of your activity, which kind of defeats the point of privacy, right? Surfshark's strict no logs policy means they don't monitor, track, or store any of your browsing data. They also have an antivirus add-on. We tend to think viruses are just a laptop problem, but they can hit your phones, tablets, really anything electronic. That's why Surfshark Antivirus is such a smart add-on. It's built right into the app and it runs quietly in the background, protecting against malware, Trojans, and all that other nasty stuff that can sneak in from downloads or dodgy sites. So start protecting your online identity today with Surfshark. You can try it right now with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. Just go to surfshark.com/dogs, DAWGS, or use code DOGS at checkout to get 4 extra months of Surfshark VPN. No, it's not good at all. And I mean, for a Browns team, and this is what I talk about a lot too with a lot of the receivers on the roster, it's so bad. The wide receiver room is so bad. And I did a write-up for Barry Shuck for an article that he's doing about what the Browns should do in the first round. And I made the point a couple times that our wide receiver room, this is our wide receiver room. It's the NFL's drops leader, Jerry Jeudy, a fourth-year guy. By the way, Cedric Tillman's on the last year of his rookie deal, everybody. So this is it. He's gone after this year. They're not bringing him back no matter what he does.
Yeah, you're not bringing him. You're not you're not.
I don't even know if anybody else signs him next year except for like a vet min. Let's just see if you can come here and make the roster through camp, and he probably won't. So that's who your second receiver is. And then after that, you got 2 guys who were UDFA rookies last year. One of them started on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And Gage Larvidan. So that's your wide receiver room. It's insane. And even with how bad that wide receiver room is, and I know the snap counts play into injury and things like that, but Cedric Tillman has never played more than 63% of the offensive snaps. In 2024, it was 57. Last year, 63. Jeez. That's not going to cut it. We need players who can get on the field, stay on the field, and make stuff happen on the field.
Yeah, and he's not that. You know, I posted a something on him on my Facebook wall, and people came at me as if I was like cursing online. Like I'm like cursing some magical play. Like, what do you think of Cedric Tillman? There's hope there. What if you trade him off or get rid of him and he does well on the other team? Like, when have you seen us get rid of a player and they become a Pro Bowl on another team? It has not, especially if you've given someone 3 years to show any type of consistency or any type of at least number 2 receiver qualities, and he has not shown that. He has shown glimmers of that, like little hopes of that, but he has not shown any type of consistency, and which is why, like, you brought up the wide receiver room. Like, I was on my podcast 2 weeks ago, we did a mock draft, a live one, and they put me in charge of it, and I did best player available. I've been best player available this whole time. Like, I think best player available at 6, you can't pass it. But now, after I looked into the receiver room, I'm thinking, I might be wrong on this best player available. I think we need to get Tate at 6, and then at 24, whoever's there, Cooper, Casey, Boston. Well, I think Boston and Tate kind of similar. So you might have to get somebody different than Tate at 24 to broaden this option at receiver. And then if you want a quarterback next year, if our favorite child, Shador, doesn't work out, you do have weapons for him to come to as opposed to building.
100%. And I am all for 2 receivers in the first 3 picks would be awesome. Because, you know, you said, when has this ever worked out with the hope? You know, Cedric Tillman's shown nothing through 3 years. It reminds me a lot of Donovan Peoples-Jones because because you said, well, do the Browns trade Cedric Tillman away? And I think I told you, like, well, if somebody wants him, sure. I mean, I don't know what you can get for him, but I think we traded DPJ for a 6th.
Yeah.
If we could get a 6th-round pick for Cedric Tillman, that'd be great because Donovan Peoples-Jones had a much better career over 3 years in Cleveland than Cedric Tillman. His last year here, 2022, he caught 61 passes, 839 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, that's not like a ton, but compared to what Cedric Tillman's best season has been, it's huge. And we traded him away for a 6th. And then to speak to if we trade him away and he goes and does really well for another team, you're right. When has that ever happened? Because DPJ, we kind of felt the same about him. Like, man, the Browns might have to give this guy an extension. Then we traded him. It's like, he was doing really well. I don't think he is. Did he ever play football again?
He maybe played a couple of downs for Detroit, and after that, he was out of the league. I'm pretty sure he's out of the league. But
he had 5 receptions in Detroit in 2023. Hasn't played since.
Yeah, the year we traded him.
Yep,
he has not played since. So it shows that Cedric Tillman has all the qualities to be maybe a good number 2 to potentially maybe 1B, but he just. If you have the qualities, it will show up around year 2, right? Like typically for a good receiver, like a great receiver is right away. Like year 2 is where a receiver kind of like grows, and he has not shown that. Now you can sit there and say, well, maybe it's the quarterback's fault, maybe, but Justin Jefferson, not the comparator to, can catch a ball regardless of who's throwing the ball. Like that's the type of receiver we need on this team, and I think Cedric is not that.
No, he's definitely not. I said those were like surface level stats, but I don't know what kind of deeper metrics you guys on your podcast like to look at for wide receivers.
I get made fun of all the time because I pull up so many DOAs, OPPs. They're like, dude, this is too deep. You're getting too nerdy with me. Like I'm into the deep nerdy stats, and I was actually told to calm down a little bit. But go into the deep stats because I find them very enjoyable.
Well, I mean, just the main one I always go to, and it's not the end-all be-all for a wide receiver, but it's the first one that I look at. And I also, it goes in context in relation to other stats. But the first one I go to is yards per route run, because if your yards per route run is high, it means you're producing when you're on the field, when you're running routes on a regular basis. If it's low, obviously it means you're not. Well, we know Cedric Tillman's not producing. His yards per route run is 0.85 last year in 2025. That was bottom 10 in the entire NFL. And we're talking 200 plus receivers. He's bottom 10, not producing at all in the field. He only had 6 contested catch opportunities, caught 3 of them, just 61 yards after reception, 2.9 yards after reception, or after catch per reception, 2.9. That was, let's just sort here, 2.9, also about bottom 10. It's just bad. Like he just doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything well.
Yeah, he doesn't. And unfortunately, when you don't have a guy that does consistently well, it makes it trouble for the other receivers to do consistently well. And I mean, you can even fault Jerry Jeudy for his dropping. But when you get 2 guys in here like Jeudy and Tillman, you would hope to eventually grow other receivers. But when you rely on undrafted free agents to come in and be your guy, it stunts the growth of your receiver room because they don't grow naturally. And that's the problem that we're running into here in Cleveland. When we need to find receiver talent, and you have the opportunity this year to, in the deep receiver draft, by the way, even if hypothetically they don't get one in the top 2, maybe they can get lucky if Barry picks right and get something in the 3rd or 4th round. You're asking a lot of Barry.
If Barry picks right.
Yeah, if Barry picks right.
Famous last words, not something I have a whole lot of faith in as people who watch my show. No. Now, I'll give him credit. He had a nice draft last year for the most part. Obviously, the Dylan Gabriel pick in the 3rd round was most likely a Kevin Stefanski pick, but still just a freaking piss poor pick. Talk about wasted opportunity, and I'll never leave it alone that we passed on Xavier Watts, who Mike Rutenberg, by the way, just cannot sing the praises highly enough for a guy like Xavier Watts. So it also makes me think maybe safety's in play earlier in the draft than we might think. The only reason why I've been on Downs is because of Rutenberg. I said Downs 6, potentially, if he's the best player. Obviously, now I've been having to change your heart because I realize how sucky our wide receiving room is. So I'm kind of like trending away from that. But it wouldn't surprise me. Like I said, even in 2nd round, safety would make sense. Yeah, and I'm more looking at Emmanuel McNeil-Warren out of Toledo.
Yes.
Maybe around that pick 24 is where we could get surprised with the safety pick, or they trade up from 39 if he starts to fall, something like that. Just because, well, one, that's the safety they've hosted for a top 30 visit.
The only one.
The only one. So Andrew Berry, as far as I know, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure, has never picked anybody in the first round that he did not have for a top 30 visit.
Yeah. You may be right on that.
So, and they have hosted like Tate and all the top receivers. And honestly, they haven't done any of the highly projected tackles either for top 30. Now, there's still a month to go. They could bring in Caleb Downs tomorrow, and that would put the end of that conversation. But
you're right.
McNeil Warren's a guy to keep an eye on there for the safety position. But at wide receiver, and you mentioned if you go Tate at 6, which I hope to God they do, we need that kind of a receiver.
I mean, if he's there, Sam on our podcast think he might go to Tennessee, but I think Love targeted there. I think they're going to Love. Either that or Tennessee's worst defense might grab a defensive player because I think they have the worst defense in the league.
They got a defense head coach now too, so that might be.
So it might be a Downs, it might be a Bailey or edge rusher if he's there. Mm-hmm. But I think Tate at 6, if he's there, you don't even let a second tick off the clock. You just run the card up there and just say Tate,
I think so. I think so too. And you made the point then, if you did go Tate at 6 and you wanted to go receiver again at 24, which I would love to do that. I'm with you. I'm not looking at guys like Denzel Boston, another big bodied outside down the field, go up for a contested catch type of guy. It's tough to run your offense efficiently when you got your top 2 guys and they do the same thing. I want Carnell Tate in that role, and I know Tate can win all over the field. He's much more than just that. But that's his specialty. I would be going after a Casey Concepcion or Omar Cooper Jr., a more, not necessarily like a slot-only guy, but a slot just slaying type wide receiver. Like this dude just goes, he wins in the intermediate area of the field. He can sit down in the soft parts of the zone, gets open for his quarterback, get the ball in his hands, and watch him work. Yards after catch kings. Those 2 guys, I would love to pair up with Carnell Tate.
Yeah, and I'm a big Cooper guy. So Cooper at 24 would be a perfect scenario for me. Now, Casey's route tree is huge. Oof. Like he can run any route, and that makes him appealing. Now, I would be afraid of his size, not because of his size in general, because I feel we have too many receivers that have that size, though not his skill set. But I love Omar Cooper Jr. I think what he has, and I heard this comparison has not gone off my mind. I think of Jarvis Landry and just the way he plays. He catches the ball consistently. He's a football player. He's a football guy, and you need football guys on your team. And if he's there at 24 and they pass on him, even though they get Tate, even though I would understand why they would pass on the receiver, I would still be disappointed because I think if you can pair those 2 together, you got 3 to 4 years of potential amazing offenses that you can have. He can help Shador. It really can help outside of Fannin Jr., who he seemed to lock eyes with every time he dropped back. You give him 2 more options to lock eyes with, and the defenses have to respect that.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't fault Shador for locking eyes on Harold Fannin because if I was him, I'd do the same thing. Like, hey, maybe I'll look at Judy. No, I'm not throwing to Jerry Jeudy. He drops touchdown passes for interceptions. Maybe I can lock on Cedric. Oh, Cedric Tillman's not on the field. Duh, what am I thinking? Yes, of course I'm throwing to Harold Fannin Jr. And you're right. To get some more weapons in the passing game just helps the quarterback, whoever it is, and I hope it's Shador. And for what we saw from Shador Sanders last year, with nothing on offense, Harold Fannin and nothing after that, I was impressed. I was. I don't know. I know some people weren't. Some people didn't like what they saw, and it wasn't all pretty. That's for sure. There were definitely some bad moments, but it was a bad offense. It was a bad team. So it's kind of hard to pin that on one person. This episode is partnered with Kalshi. Browns fans, are you ready to put your money where your predictions are? With Kalshi, America's #1 regulated prediction market, you can legally trade on events that actually matter to you. And the best part is you don't need to predict specific stat lines and compile a 7-leg parlay just to win big. With Kalshi, the objective is either yes or no. Will Shador Sanders be the Browns' Week 1 starting quarterback? Will Fernando Mendoza be the first overall pick in the draft? Will the Browns make their pick at 6, or will they trade out of that spot? And in other sports, will the Cavs win the NBA Finals? You can put your money on these predictions and more with Kalshi. If you want to try it out, Kalshi is giving $10 to anyone who signs up at kalshi.com/dogs and trades $100. Get away from disadvantageous sports books and dive into real-world outcomes with real-time odds and real payouts. Head over to Kalshi, KALSHI.com/dogs, DAWGS, or just click the link in the description to get $10 when you trade $100 with Kalshi. Because why shouldn't you get paid for being right?
Yeah, and you can even point out to the offensive line inconsistencies. They were just horrible. It's nothing inconsistent about being horrible.
Consistently bad.
Consistently bad, right? So, and not to go off topic here, but like a lot of people Barry did what he can do with the offensive line. He made it somewhat better. We're going to see how much better. Maybe Will Hop can make these guys even a little bit more better than what they were. And hopefully that will give Shedeur some kind of confidence to, hey, you got time. Don't go through your reads. Don't get nervous. Don't get scared. And hopefully Monken can come in here and calm him down to improve him. Because I'm kind of on board. Like I'm obviously all in on Shedeur. We need to see what he has for next year, and the best way to do that is just give him talent. Whatever you have available to get him talent on offense, let's do it. Get a left tackle to help him. Make sure you draft guys in case they get injured, and you have depth there at the offensive line just to see what you can get out of Shedeur. Because as a Browns fan, I'm just tired of what ifs. And if I can get this question answered for the quarterback with Shedeur and then move on, I'll be happy with that.
Oh, absolutely. Especially on a 5th-round rookie deal. Yeah. You can do some things over the next couple seasons if you think you have your quarterback locked into place with him. You mentioned earlier about how the having good wide receivers helps your wide receiver room and the growth. It also helps your quarterback, like we've just talked about. But it helps the entire offense as well because it'll help your run game. If you have wide receivers on the outside or in the slot or whatever, just guys that can get open, make plays, and that defenses have to respect and maybe even fear that they're going to get beat by these guys. I mean, Carnell Tate can beat anybody deep. He doesn't need 4.2 speed to do it.
He doesn't.
None of these guys do. Puka Nacua doesn't need 4.3 speed to go beat you deep. He'll just route run you to death, and he's wide open. That's exactly what Carnell Tate does. But if you can get these guys that defenses have to respect, it opens up your run game. Yeah. And last year it was just, wait, you mean tell me you got Isaiah Bond and Gage Larvidan out here? Go ahead and beat us through the air. Don't care. We're taking away. And that's what teams did. They honed in on the run, stuffed the run. We're averaging like 2 yards a carry. They're like, I dare you to throw it to these guys. And we had to, and it was bad. It was just, it worked for the defense. Then I read a stat that Junkins was getting hit 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage and still averaged 2 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. Yeah. Can you imagine if he had some type of room to even get past the line of scrimmage? It's insane. Historically bad how bad this offensive line was. That's why for me, when people say Shedeur was a bum, it's like, well, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like, you have to look at it from a whole picture. Like, I understand Barry wasn't 100% in on Shedeur during the press conferences, whatever. He didn't commit solely to him, but they did not decommit. So they're going to get this fixed and get it right, and hopefully get it right. And we can see some type of growth out of Shedeur. At this point, any quarterback. If it's Deshaun, I just want to win, man. If it's thank you. I know
it could be a 6th-round Kubnik from Clemson or anyone at this point. I just want to win. I'm just tired of every week coming. Hey, we're 3-14 again. We're 5-12, and we're picking in the top 10. Like it's good from a content perspective because people feed on hate, but it's bad for my health. It's bad for my health, man. It is.
Well, and to be fair, we don't know what the content game would be like if the Browns were ever consistently good because they never have been. Maybe it would be good for. I don't know.
You had a season of those Baker years where they were somewhat palatable, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see if they're consistently good. I may be retiring off content because Browns fans are just praising the name of whoever the quarterback is.
Yeah, no kidding. And like you said, I know that Andrew Berry has said there's going to be a competition. They'll probably bring in somebody else for the summer and everything. The action so far show that
Yeah.
the answer for 2026 is on the roster somewhere, at least, because they didn't bring anybody in yet in free agency. So if they bring anybody in off the street, it's going to be a backup type guy. It's going to be a practice squad, third string type quarterback. If they draft somebody, it's going to be the same situation. None of these guys are ready to come in here and actually compete for a starting job. So it's between Deshaun and Shedeur. And as far as the team committing to players publicly or committing to things, I don't buy any of it, because we have this whole Myles Garrett thing going on, and everybody's like, guys, come on, you're being stupid. The Browns came out and said they're 100% not trading Myles Garrett, and I'm like, yeah, here's this post from March of 2022. Browns remain committed to Baker Mayfield in 2022. A couple weeks later they traded him.
Yeah.
So
I got a text from another content creator, because I posted, would you trade? Not Myles is going to get traded. Would you trade? Because you're piggybacking off of the news that's being said, right? Like, hypothetically, I'm not saying you will. The Browns are. I got to say, Browns are not trading Myles Garrett. I'm like, I know that. I just want to know what the Browns fans think.
Right.
Would we want to not trade Myles Garrett if we get a good deal for Myles Garrett? 3 first rounds, if they work out this deal where they get these 5 picks, to be able to trade that five-year thing that they Browns get made fun of for, but now kind of makes sense.
It does,
right? So you can make fun of them a little bit, but if it goes through, which it probably won't, and they end up getting trade assets for Myles Garrett, maybe it was a smart move. Like, for me, I'm considering trading Myles Garrett, and I know that sounds crazy, but for me, by the time we are ready to compete, he's not going to want to be on this team. If Shedeur does not play to what most fans expect, you're going to be in the top 10 pick anyways. Do you think Myles is going to want to play with the rookie quarterback and start all over again? No. So you have an unhappy pass rusher, which you win only 2 seasons with, by the way, since he's been here. Now, it's a quarterback issue. Sure, that's a glaring issue. But my point is, you can't win with just a top edge rusher on your team. And the stats prove it. And if you can trade him now where his value is high, why not?
Yeah. No, I'm with you. You would have to, at the minimum, consider it if the deal was something you couldn't refuse, because it's asinine to think that we would sit here as an organization. I get it from a fan perspective. Okay. I understand, as fans, we want every one of our stars retire a Brown. Nick Chubb, I don't care if you can't run the ball anymore, retire a Brown.
People want Nick Chubb to come back on the team this year because he's a free agent.
And then it's like Denzel Ward. Okay, I don't care if when you're 37, you better still be here, even if you can't play. I want you to retire a Brown. And Joel Bitonio, bring him back out. I love our players too, but from a team building perspective, if somebody's going to come, and this kind of goes to that 5-year thing what the Browns want to propose, because people say, well, the Ravens gave up 2 firsts for Max Crosby, so that's kind of the starting point for a top edge rusher. Yeah. Well, how are you going to get? It's really hard to get 3 first-round picks for a player. I mean, that doesn't really happen for anybody other than a quarterback historically. Yeah. Well, what if you space those 3 first-round picks over the next 5 years? So you get a 2027 first, and then you get a 29 and a 30. Or 31.
And as a Browns organization, you hope that team is at the tail end at 29 and 30, where those picks are no longer 20, but they're in the teens.
Yes,
the top 10.
Yeah, so
strategically, it makes sense.
Yeah, and everybody's saying, well, if you get say the Eagles do it, well, then you're picking in the late 20s or 30, 31 anyway, because they're going to be good for the next 3 years. Okay, what if 2 of those first round picks are 4 and 5 years out? Maybe they aren't that good.
What if you get Jalen Carter in exchange, which is, by the way, a defensive tackle as far as value on your team is higher than an edge rusher, in my opinion. I don't know. I think
as far as maybe
say
impact,
from the organization,
yeah.
I think they value defensive tackles over edge rushers.
But they've only drafted a crap ton of them and really left.
So that's why I'm saying like Carter will be more valuable to them as opposed to edge rusher and Myles Garrett, even though Myles is probably one of the best players.
I see what you're saying. Like from the Browns' perspective, that would make sense. Absolutely.
Not from my perspective.
I'm with you.
My perspective is Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
I love the guy. But the Browns have valued defensive tackles since Barry has been here. So Jalen Carter would make sense from a Philadelphia because there's a connection there. And he's a position in which they value. Matter of fact, they traded down last year to get a defensive tackle in Mason Graham. That's how much they value defensive tackle.
Yeah, they took it top five. And that's a topic for another day. Mason Graham, I need more in year 2, though. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah,
for
we'll
a top
see.
5 pick, I need more.
I mean, I like the pick. I assumed that that's who they were going to pick anyways, and they traded back.
Right.
So I think he's going to be better, even better in year 2. We'll see. But I think now this is going to contradict what we just said. If you trade Myles, that changes a lot of stuff on your defense because then you're not going to get as good as a good corner play from your corners because the quarterback doesn't feel pressure as much as Joe Schmo rushing him as opposed to Myles Garrett, right? So then obviously you have to change your whole identity on defense, but we'll see what they do.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. And from what I understand, what I'm reading, I don't have it pulled up, but the dead cap hits for Myles Garrett change after June 1st. So
yeah,
everybody talking about the trade happening ahead of this draft, probably not as likely, but it's one of those things over the summer training camp. Could these rumors start to heat back up about trading Myles Garrett? Because they'll cool down, man. If we're from here to June and he's not traded, that's going to all kind of settle. But I'm telling you, I think there's a good chance, actually. And I don't want to trade Myles Garrett, but I understand it, especially if it's a good deal. And this whole owners meeting and what they decide to do with that rule proposal, I think that's going to be key in just how likely this ends up being for Myles Garrett to get traded.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want it to happen as a fan because you turn on the TV since 2017 and see this freak play, and it's something that even last year probably your podcast, but we focus on that record being broken as opposed to at some point it's like, man, we're only watching because hopefully Myles breaks his record. Like you take that out of the team, then what are we watching for? Now you're hoping for you're on hope, hoping these young people develop into stars. But we'll see. We'll see what they have a lot of decisions to make because 2029 overall is coming closer, and the opening of a new stadium is going to speak for a lot of what's on this team and what excitement, not just from a new stadium built, but a good team. Are they going to put a good team into that stadium? Because that's going to speak considering the prices that they're going to be charging fans more than anything. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. But Angel, I appreciate you jumping on here and having a quick conversation with me about the Browns, man. Good luck with the 2 podcasts that you're working on. Everybody go follow Angel, the Typical Browns Fan podcast, and go check out the Bearded Browns podcast. These guys are awesome. And I know this is just I'm throwing this at you real quick. Do you know if you guys are going to be at the bowling event, the Bowling for Legends for the Tuscarawas County Browns backers in June?
I got to reach out to Rich, man. He hasn't invited me yet, but we probably
I don't think he's got it planned.
I
guess I'm just planning on being there, but
yeah, we were there last year. I had fun, but I was babysitting.
Yeah, so I remember.
If I go, I'll probably just come by myself. By that way, I can enjoy it more than when I mean babysitting. I mean watching my kids. That sounds like I'm a bad dad, but
no, I've been babysitting all morning here. I finally got him over to the in-laws. I mean, I get it. That's what it is. Don't hurt yourself. Yeah. These kids.
But yeah, we will probably, if not them, I will probably show up. And you guys are doing a live there.
Yeah, and I was going to say we should do maybe a collective collab live stream together.
I'll talk to my guys about that for sure.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. So there you go, everybody. We're making plans live here on the show.
Sorry, Rich. Plans already.
But all right, Angel, thanks again and have a great weekend. We'll talk soon. This episode is sponsored by Butcher Box for Pets. Browns fans, Butcher Box for Pets has a deal you cannot pass up for your 4-legged family members. Right now, you get 50% off your first subscription order of the premium slow-cooked nutrition dog food or the premium fresh dog food. Just go to butcherboxforpets.com/dogs, DAWGS, and use promo code DOGS when you check out. It can get confusing because we're the dogs, we love our fellow dogs, our dog pack members, and the Dog Pound faithful. But let's not kid ourselves. The most important dogs in our lives are, well, our dogs. And they're not just pets, like I said, they're part of the family. So the question is, what are you actually feeding them? At ButcherBox, they believe in real ingredients. Their pet foods have been developed and certified by vet nutritionists to contain 0 artificial flavors or preservatives. I know our house wouldn't be the same without Odie, our 100-pound golden retriever who thinks he's a 10-pound lap dog. Absolute dumbest dog in the world, but we love him like crazy. And it gives us peace of mind knowing that we're giving him quality food instead of those factory processed blocks from the store. And speaking of the store, no need to add dog food to your shopping list ever again. ButcherBox delivers their high-quality food right to your door. Just choose the delivery schedule that you need for your dog, and you can change, modify, pause, or cancel your plan at any time. So try it out today. Your dog will love you for upgrading their meal times. ButcherBoxForPets.com/dogs and use promo code DAWGS, DAWGS, to get 50% off. That's right, half off your first subscription order of the premium slow-cooked nutrition fresh dog food or the premium fresh dog food. Minimum purchase of just $34. 50% discount applies to subscription orders only. One use per customer, and you can cancel at any time. ButcherBoxForPets.com/dogs. All right, guys, thanks for listening to my conversation with Angel. He's such a good dude. He is awesome. He's a great podcaster, great content creator. Go follow his stuff, his podcast and everything. And I'm hoping to have him on our show more recurring because he's just a great guest and he's a good dude to talk to. So I got a couple voicemails here now to wrap up the show. Let's dive into the first one. Here is from Gabriel.
What's going on, Dogs Podcast? It is your friendly Buccaneers fan, Gabriel, back again. I just wanted to respond to what Josh asked me earlier this week about how I feel about the Buccaneers receiving corps. I don't really know how to feel right now. Obviously, I love Emeka, and I always love Chris Godwin and Jalen McMillan, even though I forgot Jalen McMillan existed on the roster. Originally, I was stunned when the Buccaneers took Emeka because originally I was wanting Luther Burden in the first round over Emeka, and I had in my mock draft Emeka going to Green Bay, who picked after. So when the Buccaneers took Emeka, I was genuinely stunned and didn't know how to feel until my dad showed me highlight videos of Emeka during the national championship run, and then I started to buy in, and then the season I definitely bought in, and now I own an Emeka jersey. I'm willing to give this receiving corps a chance, but I'm not fully bought in as I was. And also, Go Dogs Podcast and Go Browns. Hope to see you guys on the Patreon soon. Ho-ho!
Yeah, Gabriel, your breakdown of how the draft went last year for those wide receivers is something that, it's good to keep fresh in our minds as we head into this draft here in 2026. Obviously, you had Tet McMillan go 8 overall in the top 10. And from what he did in his rookie season, looked like that was a good spot for him to go. He looks like he's going to be an alpha wide receiver 1 in the NFL. And that's what you're looking for with that kind of a pick. And then you go, obviously, the Buccaneers there at, what was it, 19, 20, 21? I should have brought it up. And they take Emeka Egbuka, and that's a good pick because obviously you can't go wrong with these Ohio State receivers. They come out, and the thing with Egbuka is he was never the go-to guy at Ohio State, which is a knock that people give to Carnell Tate and everything, all these other guys as well that come out of Columbus, but came out as a polished, pro-ready receiver. And even if your production in college wasn't at the highest level and you weren't the go-to target necessarily for your team, there is something to be said about coming into the league, one, as a younger player, still as a younger player, I think he was, 22 when he was drafted, and being so pro-ready. Because there's a lot of things that even the elite producers in college, maybe they're not the most polished in terms of being pro-ready. They got to learn when they get here. And they really got to fine-tune some things. But you get a guy like Egbuka, a guy, in my opinion, like Tate, who is pro-ready, pro-built, and they can come in. And those things that they really need to learn to elevate from the college level to the pro level, they don't really need to do that because they're already there. They've been coached up for that. And that's one of the advantages of having a receiver from that program. So I'm glad that you guys were able to get Egbuka. He's a guy that I was hoping the Browns would somehow be able to get last year in the draft, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. Luther Burden's an interesting one because I remember, if I remember correctly from everything last year in the pre-draft process, he was that guy that was like the yak guy. Everything was around the line of scrimmage. It was short yardage. He wasn't targeted down the field. And there were the questions like, can this guy really be a full route tree type of receiver? Can he do things on the outside? Can he do things downfield? Or is he just kind of a manufactured touch player? And I know he showed some flashes last year. Obviously went in the second round, either right before or right after we took Quinshawn. I can't remember now off the top of my head. But Luther Burden, I think, is going to have an opportunity to expand his role this season in Chicago. And we'll see how that develops over the course of this season now with DJ Moore being traded to Buffalo. But the big topic, or I guess the big pointer from this whole draft conversation from 2025 is what you said about Green Bay taking Matthew Golden in the first round. Matthew Golden never should have been a first-round pick. That is a perfect prime example of post-combine hype elevating a lower-level player into the first round who should not be there. He ran a super fast, what was it, 4.26 something, 4.2 something, and 4.2s at the combine. Okay, cool. Dude, you're fast. All right, sweet. Love that track speed, I guess. Minimal production in college. Minimal production. He did not really have any sort of production to talk about until the college football playoff run last year. That was only a couple games for Texas. So it's really funny that Green Bay was that team the whole time. They had Aaron Rodgers and all those years would never draft a first round receiver. They just never did it. It had been, I forget how long since they drafted a first round receiver. And the first one they pulled the trigger on in the first round was Matthew Golden. Again, year two incoming, maybe he steps up. Maybe he shows he was worthy of that first round pick. But historically, guys of his profile, I think we're going to look back and we will say that was a bust pick for the Packers in the first round. Again, could be wrong. Let me know what you guys think. I never was and still am not a Matthew Golden fan. So how does that tie into the Browns? Just be smart about who the wide receivers are that you pick. Andrew Berry, that's who I'm talking to here. Andrew, you guys are smart. I know Browns fans are smart. That was kind of a big reason why we started this podcast 6 years ago. To be honest with you guys, we felt at the time the way things had been going, we were coming off the Hugh Jackson years, the Freddie Kitchen season, and we're like, I feel like we could run this team better than these morons can. We look at draft prospects and Browns should take this guy. Nope, they pass on him. And the guy we wanted ends up being great. The guy the Browns took ends up sucking. Every single year it felt like, and it's, well, maybe let's just start a podcast and we'll just get our feelings and opinions out there because we're right more than they are. I feel like that's a lot of Browns fans. You guys, we all sit on our couch, watch these games and say, all right, look at this situation right here. The Browns, they should run this type of play. And they run something totally different and it gets busted. And it's like, okay, whatever. But anyway, moving on. As that pertains to the Browns, pick the right receivers. Just be smart. Don't reach for guys that just ran fast and that's all they really did or something like that. Andrew Berry just makes me nervous in the draft in general, but he makes me nervous, especially talking about wide receivers because he's never picked a good one. But moving on here, let's get to Justin's voicemail here. This one's interesting to me.
What's up, Dog Podcast? It's Justin in Jersey here. I've been watching, a lot more film on linemen, scenarios if, Tate and Love are gone, okay? And I've decided that I actually have switched my opinion, and I think that we should go Fano. The guy has a huge motor. He's one of the few, if not the only one, that said he's pretty much willing to move around on a line if he needs to. What that tells me is that he is willing to play that left side, and he wants to be on the field. So I would go Fano, and I would only go Fano if Tate and Love are off the field. I would go Love over Fano, though, because if we can get an identity of having Montgomery and Quinshon Judkins and, Love out there, like a 1-2 punch, it gives us an identity on offense. Also is going to open up the passing game, okay? And with that being said, so say we go Fano at 6 because Tate and Love are gone. At 24, because I think Tyson and Lemon's definitely going to be gone. We're going to have Omar Cooper Jr., Denzel Boston, possibly Tyson, And you can call me crazy for this, but I would actually go Omar Cooper Jr. And I'd feel good coming out of the first round with Fano at 6 and Omar Cooper Jr. Go Browns. Ooh.
All right, Justin, great voicemail. Spencer Fano, I've mentioned this on previous shows, and my opinion has not changed. I do think he's a really good lineman. Okay, let's just get that out of the way first. Don't hear what I'm not saying. I think Spencer Fano is a really good lineman. You don't hear me right now saying I think he's going to be a very good tackle, right? Justin, you mentioned how Fano has expressed willingness to play, anywhere on the offensive line. To me, that doesn't necessarily speak to left tackle. I think he's going to be a guard. I think he's going to end up playing guard at the NFL level, whether that's right out the gate or after a year or so, he makes the transition inside to the interior. He has short arms. I know there's some people that, you can't harp too much on arm length, and you really can't, I guess, if it's kind of in the 33-inch range or high 32. But I'm telling you guys, like, historically, just go look for NFL tackles who had 32-inch arms. And you're not going to find a very long list. Okay. Now, has it happened? Yes. Yes. There have been guys with 32-inch arms that have played before. Spencer Fano has 32-inch arms. There's a lot to overcome when you are giving up. And, the thing is, we'll say, hey, a guy doesn't have 33-inch arms. Well, it's just 32. That's just an inch. What's the big deal? What is the oldest, I think, trope about football in general? It's a game of what? Inches. Football is a game of inches. That is true. It is true in every facet. An inch makes a big difference in your length and your leverage when taking on these longer, lengthier, more powerful speed edge rushers, power edge rushers in the NFL. I really don't think you want a 32-inch arm guy at left tackle. Maybe he can stick over at right tackle where he played in college. My guess, my anticipation would be Spencer Fano's going to end up playing guard in the NFL. And I'm not knocking him for that. That's not like a bad thing. But then you got to ask yourself, if we take Spencer Fano at 6 and he ends up playing guard, are we okay with the value of getting an offensive guard at 6? We talk about positional value. Guards don't usually go in the top 10. Sometimes, I suppose, if it's like an elite player, but, he's not even one of the tackles that I would consider to be like an elite prospect in recent years. So it's just tough for me to imagine taking a probable future guard at 6. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Am I off base about that? I have not really studied deep tape dives on the offensive linemen. So maybe there's stuff about Spencer Fano that's like, yeah, this dude's going to be a tackle and we're not worried about it. Okay, let me know. Tell me about that. Let's talk about it. For me, I'm just looking at the history and the stats, the statistics of having the length that he has or the lack of. And those guys, it's like 90+% of the time are going to be moving to guard. We'll see. Thank you for the voicemail, Justin. And let me know, Justin, if that were the case, let's say we knew right now that, yes, Spencer Fano will end up playing guard. Do you still want the Browns to take him at 6? Would that change your opinion of that draft slot for him if you knew that ahead of time? So let me know what you think about that. I'm curious to hear if that changes your opinion or if you're just, I love the guy, I love the player, let's get him. So final voicemail here. It's a draft question, but we're going to kick it into the future, as Browns fans love to do, with our buddy Liam.
What's going on, Dogs Podcast? It's Liam calling in from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I just finished listening to your guys' dual mock draft episode. I thought it was a great episode. I thought both mock drafts were solid. But I'm tired of talking about the 2026 draft, so I came in here to talk about the 2027 NFL draft. And if I'm being completely honest, I think we all know deep down in our hearts that although Shedeur showed flashes, he's not our guy, and that we're going to need to be drafting a quarterback in 2027. So my question for you guys is, who would you rather have, and who do you think is a better prospect, Julian Sayin or Arch Manning? That's all I have. Go Dogs. Woo woo.
Oh, Liam, you hit me with a good one here. Honestly, I thought about saving this voicemail and playing it for the whole group when we do our next group episode of the show. With the way things are going right now, Blake is supposed to, his daughter's supposed to be born this week. So if you didn't know, Blake's wife was pregnant and they're very close to having their second little girl, then reach out and give Blake a congratulations early. That should be later this week. Like I said, we got spring break here, 2 kids at home all week, 1 kid sick, babysitter's on vacation. It's just like, we might not be able to do a group episode this week. So I wanted to answer this, and I'll pose this question to the guys next time we all get together, but you're hitting us right in the feels, because obviously we want to tell you Julian Sain's the better prospect. He's the Ohio State kid. That's our guy. You know, last year he had the amazing, 77% completion percent, I think was the highest ever in a single season. Am I correct about that? You guys let me know in the chat, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. His 77% completion was the highest ever in a single season by a college quarterback. I think that's correct. Don't quote me, but I think 3,600 yards, 32 touchdowns, 8 picks. Like, he had a very good season. We all know Arch Manning did not come out and do the things that everybody thought he was going to do last year. Let's see, ended with a 61.4% completion, so very much lower than Julian Sayin. 3,100 yards, 26 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Started off slow, picked it up toward the end of the season. I think he started to come around a little bit. He did add 400 yards and 10 touchdowns on the ground, which is a factor of his game that Julian Sayin just doesn't have. You're really hitting it hard here, Liam, because I do think Arch Manning is the better. He's got the better pedigree, being from the Manning family. He's got all of that. He's got the better size. He's the prototypical, let's see, what is he? 6'4", 220-pound quarterback. Like, that's what you're looking for. And he can run, and he can pick up and do things on the ground. That's what you're looking for in these college quarterbacks to come into the NFL. You got Julian Sayin on the smaller side, 6'1", just a little over 200 pounds. You know, obviously he can put on a little bit of weight maybe before next year, but I don't know if he's going to really grow. I mean, he's probably going to go into the NFL at 6'1", hovering around 200 pounds. That's smaller for a quarterback. It's smaller. He's got the high accuracy. But this college football season is going to be interesting, because if Arch Manning even takes a little bit of a step forward from what he ended the season on last year, I think he's the better prospect. And I don't know if Blake and Justin will kill me for that, if Kenny will get mad at me for saying that, but I love both the players, and I just think right now Julian Sayin looks a little more polished in what he's able to do from the quarterback position. But like I said, Arch Manning has the other intangibles, the other abilities, the size, the running ability. Again, the pedigree, that all he's got to do is improve a little bit, I think, this year in college football at Texas, and he'll come out as the higher prospect for sure. So you let me know what you guys think. Am I off base? It's been a few months now since the football season. Maybe I'm just misremembering things, but that's kind of the way I see it currently heading into 2027, which, as we all know, things can change dramatically over the course of a year. A year ago right now, we were talking about how the 2025 draft class was super weak at quarterback. Yeah, Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, maybe Jackson Dart, and that was about it to even talk about. Tyler Shuck was one of those like, maybe. There was no group of these are your highly rated prospects at the quarterback position. 2025 was a weak class. Everybody was pumped for 2026. Can't wait for 2026. That class is going to be stock full of quarterbacks. Here we are in 2026, and that class in 2026 is worse. It's worse than 2025 was. I do think 2027 definitely projects to be much better, but again, That's what we thought last year about this one. And things took a nosedive during the season for pretty much everybody on that futures list. Will it happen 2 years in a row? Probably not, but just something to keep in mind, something to caution yourselves on when you're getting too excited about a draft that far away. I know, Liam, sick of talking about 2026. You're ready to talk 27. But let's bring it back to 26 because that's where we are now, and we haven't even hit that draft yet. We got to hit this one out of the park. We need players. This team has so many holes to fill, and we just lost A.J. Epinesa. That's another thing I should have hit in the news earlier, but A.J. Epinesa, the Browns signed as a free agent on the edge to a 1-year deal worth up to, $5 million, and didn't pass his physical, or they weren't comfortable, I guess, after they ran his medicals, after he did his physical. They weren't comfortable bringing him in. So that deal is off. A.J. Epinesa will not be coming to Cleveland. We still only have 3 edge rushers currently on the roster. 4, I guess, if you want to count Julian Okwara, who spent all last year on the practice squad. But otherwise, it's Miles, obviously, right now, Alex Wright, and Isaiah McGuire. Pretty thin herd there. So we're going to be drafting an edge rusher, I'm sure. We'll be signing somebody else to take the spot that Epinesa was supposed to come in here and do. We'll see who they end up getting, but that was disappointing to see. Oh, Andrew Berry, got your work cut out for you, brother. I hope you can do it, but I have my doubts. As anybody who's watched this team or watched you construct a roster for 6 years, I think we got some doubts, but we'll see how it goes. Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, appreciate everybody watching the show, engaging with the show. Head to jointhedogs.com if you want to hang out in the private Discord with everybody, chat with us, chat with everybody in the community, talk about what the Browns should do, because, again, what you think the Browns should do is probably more right than what the Browns think they should do. So get your opinions out there with like-minded Browns fans, and let's just have a good time. Have a great week, everybody. I'm not sure when I'll get back with the next episode, but I have more content planned. I will get it to you guys when I am able to. And until I see you guys in the next one, as always, let's go Browns.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Dogs Podcast. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Twitter at The Dogs Podcast. Get your thoughts on the show at thedogspodcast.com.
This episode is sponsored by ISSA. Browns fans, if you're into health and fitness, have you ever wondered how you could maybe turn those hobbies and your passion into an actual career? If that sounds interesting to you, then ISSA has the opportunity you've been looking for. ISSA is the International Sports Science Association, and they can help you become a certified personal trainer in as little as 3 months. And right now you can get $100 off your certification when you sign up through our link, joinissa.com/dogs, DAWGS. Now, certifications are 100% online, self-study, and self-paced. You can study anywhere from your phone, tablet, or computer. And the final exam is open note, open book, aka piece of cake. Except you fitness nuts probably don't eat a ton of cake, so let's just call it a piece of delicious protein bar. And ISSA has the #1 job guarantee in the industry. If you get certified and sign up to be a certified trainer with ISSA, you have a job guarantee or your money back. ISSA has over 10,000 gym partners that have over 73,000 open jobs for trainers right now. And you don't need a 4-year degree or a 2-year degree. You just need your certification to qualify for these jobs. So what are you waiting for? With certification this simple, there's no excuse not to pursue your passion and become a certified personal trainer today. Get $100 off your certification at joinissa.com/dogs. You've wanted to make a change long enough. Now it's time to do something about it. That's joinissa.com/dogs for $100 off your personal trainer certification.